Okay, here we are. Today is day 7 for the Advent of Cyber Challenge. Today's challenge is Network Discovery, Scanta Clause. And before we begin, as always, my little disclaimer, I'm not a cybersecurity professional. I have no experience in or with cybersecurity, and I will be taking on these challenges as a beginner, just like other beginners. So of course you might see me stop, look things up, research it, and I'll just go ahead and apologize in advance for that. But here we go. Today is day 7. And as always, we have the video 1 and video 2 to align with today's tasks or challenge. We have 2 tasks again, task 1, introduction, and task 2, discover network services. All right, so Christmas preparations are delayed. HopSec has breached our QA environment and locked us out. Without it, the TBFC projects can't be tested, and our entire SOC miss pipeline is frozen. So of course that stood for Security Operations Center. To make things worse, the server is slowly transforming into a twisted East Miss node. Can you uncover HopSec's trail and find a way back into the TBFC dev QA01 and restore the server before the bunnies takeover is complete? For this task, you'll need to check every place to hide, every open port that bunnies left unprotected, and good luck. So the learning objectives today: learn the basics of network service discovery with Nmap, which we can click this. Nmap is Network Mapper, which is an open source tool used for network discovery and security auditing. It also assists in the exploration of network hosts and services, providing information about open ports, operating systems, and other details. As well, we'll learn core network protocols and concepts along the way. We'll apply our knowledge to find our way back into the server, and the notable notation here, which is before moving forward, we'll review the questions and the connection card shown below. So the connection card is right here. And VM plus attack box. Do I need the attack box today? Yes. Do I need a VM today? Yes. Is there a split screen available? No. Is there a direct link available? No. Am I given credentials to connect directly to the VM via RDP, VNC, or SSH? Also no. Although split screen is more than likely available with the attack box, as it usually is. And right here, it's just going to explain to us how we can launch the target machine as well as our attack box. So we're going to select target machine. We'll get a couple pop-ups here, and we can go ahead and close these out. This is going to be our target machine IP address, which will appear in about 50 seconds or so. And as well, we're going to launch the attack box. And I also want to apologize. You might hear some background noise. That's going to be due to the fact that we're actually having some decent rain right now. So with that being said, you might hear what sounds like, I guess, static or air or something in the background, but it is raining pretty good, and I have 10 roofs. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close out of this stuff here. And we have our attack box, which is loading. We have our target machine right here. We're still awaiting that IP, which should appear in about 10 seconds or so. And this is this is our attack box. This is our target machine. And our attack box is 1067.117.240. And our target machine is 1067.151.202. And of course, the only question we have for today is, have I successfully started the target machine and attack box? Although we're still waiting here, we'll go ahead and check yes. And jump into task 2, discover network services. So although we lost access to the QA server, at least it's still active and we know its IP address. That's good news, since now we can counteract and hopefully find our way back. Ensure you understand basic networking concepts like network ports, and let's plan the engagement. So again, this would be something where I say, how is this beginner friendly if it's asking you to complete an entire room before moving forward? So the first item here is know your target. In our case, it is the TBFC DevQA01 server with the IP of 1067.151.202. Second item, scan the IP for open ports, especially common ones like 22 for SSH and 80 for HTTP. Item 3, explore what's behind the open ports. Maybe it's a vulnerable web server running on port 80. And item 4, exploit the exposed service. Find a way in and kick out the bad bunnies from the QA server. So along the practical of today's task, you will find 3 keys. Keep note of them since you will later need them for the web app. The format will be key name, and then of course followed by the actual key. So we do have our attack box loaded here. I'm going to close this item. And this is going to be the attack box or the VM that we'll use today. So the simplest port scan. We're going to go ahead and scroll this down just a bit. There are many tools you can use to scan for open ports, from pre-installed Netcat on Linux and PowerShell on Windows, to specialized powerful tools like Nmap and I think it's Nabu. Let's use Nmap for this task and perform a basic scan from the attack box or your own VPN connected attack machine. Open a new command line terminal and run the following command. So we see Nmap followed by the target machine IP. Yours is going to be different than mine. So I'm going to launch the terminal here. And before we do so, I'm just going to go ahead, come down here and just review our questions real quick. So what evil message do you see on the top of the website? What is the first key part found on the FTP server? What is the second key part found on the TBFC app? What is the third key part found in the DNS records? And which port was the MySQL database running on? Finally, what's the flag you found in the database? And of course, finally, did you enjoy this room? So the first couple items here, let's just take note. We're going to look for the evil message on the top of the website and the first key part found on the FTP server. So let's go ahead, a little bit too far there. And we're going to run Nmap against our target machine, which is 10.67.151.202. And I'm just going to let it load here for just a moment and ignore all that stuff here at the top. And let's go ahead and bring this down so we can see. So we can see the port, state, and service. So we see port 22 open for SSH and port 80 open for HTTP. Okay, and we can confirm that here. The command scanned the top 1,000 most commonly used ports and reported if any services were running there. The only results you received are an opened SSH port, which we can highlight here, secure shell, which refers to a cryptographic network protocol used in secure communications between devices. And so we noticed that the opened SSH port for remote machine access and HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is the protocol that specifies how a web browser and a web server communicate, and the HTTP port for a website. This means you can now access the server via SSH if you know the password, or open the website by visiting HTTP 10.67.151.202, so your target machine here. So let's go ahead and hide that for a minute. Open our browser. I'm going to copy this. We're going to scroll down just a bit. I'll pop open a new tab. And let's go. Close this. So we see TBFC QA marked out. It says pwned by HopSec. Eastmas takeover. Your QA server answers to HopSec now. Its console is sealed with a lock only TBFC can pick. I scattered 3 fragments of the passphrase across your own chaos. Find them, stitch the words together, speak them to the gate, and take your box back if you can. King Malhair. Okay. And I assume this is going to be our evil message here. If not, it might be this down here. So I'm going to come in here, open my notes, paste. And we were just below this image with scanning whole range. So we're going to go ahead and come back down to our questions. What evil message do you see on top of the website? And yes. Check. And what is the first key part found on the FTP server? Well, we are not quite there yet. So just below this image, scanning whole range. All right, let's go ahead and close this for now. Open this back up. Let's go full screen with that. All right, it seems like the website is defaced by bad bunnies and we don't know the key to enter the admin panel, but worry not. We scanned just 1,000 ports, but there are actually 65,535 ports where other services can hide. Now let's add the -p- argument to scan all ports and -- script equals banner to see what's likely behind the port. So of course we could copy and paste, or we could just type that in. So nmap -p- script equal banner, followed by our target machine address, and enter. And I'm going to go ahead and wait for this to load here for just a moment. And I assume we're going to get something like this, where it shows the port, the state, the service, and we should see the port number, its state, if it's opened or closed, as well as what the service is used for. And it looks like this one here has the FTP on it, so FTPD under 21.21.2. Still waiting here for this to load. And yes, it says, looks like you found a running FTP server in some custom TBFC application. Even though FTP runs on port 21 by default, it's possible to change the port to any other one, such as 21.21.2. And let's try accessing the FTP in anonymous mode with the FTP command and see if we can find our way in. You can follow the commands from the terminal below. And FTP is File Transfer Protocol, which is a protocol designed to help the efficient transfer of files between different and even non-compatible systems. It supports two modes for file transfer, binary and ASCII. Passive recon, active recon. Still waiting here. I don't know if I need to like reload or try this again. It's been about a minute or so, a little over a minute. I suppose patience is a virtue. It sure is. There we go. So we have port 22 open SSH, 80 open HTTP, and we have 21.21.2, which is open trinket-agent. The banner shows 220 VS FTPD. I gotta be honest, I have no clue what any of this means. So if I run nmap -p equal banner IP address, this is one of the outputs. What does it mean? So the output you provided from the nmap command indicates that a banner was retrieved from an open service on the target IP address. Here's what each part means. So banner information _banner. This indicates that the result is related to the banner information that was collected from the service running on the specified port. Status code 220. This is the response code from the FTP server indicating that it is ready for a new command in FTP. A response code of 220 means service ready for new user. Okay. Service information VSFTPD 3.0.5. This specifies the name and version of the service that is running on the open port. In this case, it is an FTPD, which is a popular FTP server. And the version number, of course, is 3.0.5. And implications, the information reveals that an FTP server is running on the target with the version of 3.0.5 of VSFTPD. Knowing the version can be useful for vulnerability assessments, as older versions may have known security issues. Okay, so that would be the one that we're looking for, I suppose. And then we have 25, 25, 1, open, unknown. Okay. So of course it looks like we found the running FTP server. And now, even though the FTP runs on port 21 by default, we did make notation of this already, but it can be switched to something like 21.21.2 as we see here. And let's try accessing FTP in anonymous mode with the FTP command and see if we can find our way in. You can follow the commands from the terminal below. Okay, so we're just going to do FTP 1067 151 202 21 21 2. Okay, connected to the name root, and we're going to do anonymous. We'll copy that, paste that here, enter. Okay, and it looks like we are in the FTP server now. And next it shows we need to list. So we're going to ls list 200 port command successful. Consider using PASV. What the heck is that? What is PASV? Its passive mode is a command used in the file transfer protocol to establish a data connection for transferring files between a client and a server. Okay, let's go back. Now that we've listed, we also see right here 13 October 22 and the date and time, TBFC QA key 1. So I'm assuming we want to read that to get key 1. And we can also run get TBFC underscore QA underscore key 1. And it looks like a dash at the end. And key 1, okay, so it'll be the key name followed by the actual key, and this is it here. Copy, come here. We're going to paste that. And port scan modes. So, real quick, and it shows right here, FTP, we can use the exclamation point, and this will help us exit the FTP shell. Okay, let's do that. Perfect, we're out. Okay, so port scan modes. Good job finding the first flag. There's nothing more we can see on the FTP server, so let's move on to the custom TBFC app on port 2525.1, which makes sense because that's what this one is here. Since it is not a well-known service like HTTP or FTP, your web browser or FTP client won't know how to access it. Luckily, you can always use netcat or NC command, a universal tool to interact with the network services. So we're going to do this command here. We're going to run NC. I know the -v stands for verbose. I'm like 90% positive. What is the So the -v flag in the context of nmap command is used to enable verbose output. In short, basically just gives us increased or more detailed information. Okay. So -v 10 67 151 202 25 25 1. So netcat -v, the IP address for our target machine, followed by the port associated. And right here, we see that we are connected to the IP and port, and it's maintained by TBFC, so we can type help for commands, and we get the help command status, get key, and quit. Okay. Once we've received the key, we can press Control-C to exit the Netcat client. Well, let's run status first. Why not? Status, armed for 30 seconds, port 2525-1. Okay, let's do get key. And we can see 15_th3_. We're going to copy this. That's going to be key number 2. And I wonder if you can do quit to get out. Quit. Oh, it just says bye. Okay, so Control-C. There we go. We're out of that. All right, TCP and UDP ports. Congratulations on the second flag, but where to look for the third one? Till now, you have scanned only TCP ports, so Transmission Control Protocol, which is a connection-oriented protocol requiring a TCP three-way handshake to establish a connection. But there are also 65,535 ports for UDP, another transport protocol. So User Datagram Protocol is a connectionless protocol. UDP does not require a connection to be established. UDP is suitable for protocols that rely on fast queries such as a DNS and for protocols that prioritize real-time communication such as audio, video, and conferencing broadcast. Okay. And there's a chance HopSec secrets are hiding there too. So we can switch to the UDP scan by specifying -SU flag. And if I'm not mistaken, that just means scan UDP. So we'll do nmap -SU and then our target machine 1067.151.202. Enter. And we're going to just let that roll for a minute. And I'm going to confirm over here. What does, let's try and spell correctly. What does the -SU flag stand for and do? So the -SU flag in the nmap stands for UDP scan. Yeah, okay, so scan UDP. It is used specifically for scanning the User Datagram Protocol UDP ports on a target system. Got it. All right, and that's already finished. And what we have is nmap scan report for 1067.151.202. Not shown, 999, open, filtered ports, port, state, service. And we have 53, so the port 53, which is open for domain. So the DNS. After a minute, you should see an open port 53 associated with DNS. So domain name system is the protocol responsible for resolving host names, such as TryHackMe.com, to their respective IP address. So of course, we can see that it's associated with DNS, a protocol that drives the modern web, connecting domains to IPs and many more. DNS is a complex topic and many secrets can hide there. But let's just ask the DNS server if it knows the key by using the dig command, which is a command to perform advanced DNS queries. So we can run this command here, which is going to be dig at 1067.151.202 txt. Oh goodness. Key 3.tbfc.local plus short. Does it give us a little breakdown of what this is? Of course not. Oh, nice, but it does give us the key almost immediately. So copy. That's our third key. And real quick, let's minimize this and let's run a copy of this. Could you break down and explain this command? All right, certainly let's break down the command you've provided. So dig The purpose for DIG is this stands for Domain Information Groper and is a network administrative or administration command line tool for querying DNS servers. It is widely used for troubleshooting DNS issues. Of course, at 1067.151.10.02 specifies the DNS server. The @ symbol followed by the IP address specifies which DNS server to query. In this case, it indicates that the command should use the DNS server located at 1067.151.202. TXT, the record type. This indicates the type of DNS record being queried, so text records are used to store arbitrary text data. They can be used for various purposes, such as verifying domain ownership or storing configuration details. Key3.tbfc.local. Domain name. This specifies the DNS name you are querying. In this case, it is Key3 tbfc local, likely a local domain used within a private network. Plus short, the output format. This option modifies the output format to be more concise. Instead of displaying the full DNS response, it will only show the relevant information, in this case, the TXT records associated with the specified domain. Okay. All right, so now we have all three keys here. So on a host service directory, now that you know all three keys to the TBFC dev QA01 QA server, it's time to call your TBFC teammates and kick out the bad bunnies. But first, log into the server's admin panel by visiting 1067.151.202 from within the attack box and access the secret admin console by submitting the combined keys. Okay, let's do this first. Let's copy, minimize. Let's go back to that website or that IP address, if you will. Grab another tab. I'm not waiting for that one to load. Hit paste, enter. We're back at the site and unlock. So we're going to combine the keys together. But before we do, let's go down. We're going to come back to this picture and listing listening ports. Come back to that in just a moment. And let's come in here. Perfect. Let's grab key 2. And let's also grab key 3. Awesome. And now let's combine this. And that'll be how we can log into our site here that's been defaced. Nice. Go to terminal. And we see TBFC app, so the app at tbfc-devqa01. Looks like we've made it. And of course we're at the site, we've logged in. And once you have access to the console, there is no need to scan for ports, as you can simply ask the OS to list its open ports, also called listening ports. You do it by running the ss-tunlp or netstat on older systems. Inside the secret admin console on the web app, in the output, you may see exactly the same services you scanned before listening on 0000, but also some listening on 127.0.0.1. So, of course, available only from the host itself. So we're going to do ss-tunlp. And before we do that, I do want to know what that stands for as well. I don't just like going into things blind. So what is this command and what does it stand for? All right, so the command ss starting, the purpose, this stands for socket stat and is a utility tool for displaying information about network connections, sockets, and their associated processes. It's often used as a more efficient alternative to netstat. So options breakdown, the various flags. Okay, so I didn't realize that this was various flags. Used with SS, provide specified details about the network sockets. So -T, TCP sockets. This option tells SS to display only TCP sockets. -U is UDP sockets. So of course it's asking for the UDP sockets. Then we have N, so numerical addresses. This flag prevents the resolution of host names or service names. Instead, it will display numerical IP addresses and port numbers, making the output faster and avoiding potential delays from DNS lookups. The -L is listening sockets. This instructs SS to show only sockets that are currently in a listening state, which means they are waiting for incoming connections. And -P is process information. This option allows SS to display the process ID or PID and the name of the program that is using the socket. This is useful for identifying which application is associated with a specific connection. Okay. And let's hit enter. Okay, so we see UDP here, as it said, for 0.0.0.0. I don't know if I did 4 or 5. And port, we have 50. Or 50, we have 53. 22, 53, 80, 127, 001, 8000, 25, 25, 1 on 0000, and 21, 21, 2. These are the only two that kind of stand out as different, I suppose, because we've kind of seen these other ones here. I guess actually even 8,000, 3306, and 7681. Okay. So with root permissions, you can also view the process column. However, for now, let's focus on the 3306 port. So this one here, which is the default MySQL database port. Usually databases require a password for remote clients, but allow unauthenticated logins from localhost. Since you are already inside the host, let's see the database content by using MySQL program. So we're going to do MySQL -D tbfc qa01-e and show tables. Let's do a control V. Oh, I don't know if that went in. Okay, let's paste it in here. And right click. Now we can paste. Oh. Okay. Run that. And we do see a table here. So tables in tbfc qa1, which is the table of flags. So I'm going to ask what actually break down and explain this command for me. Jeez, boy, type better. So MySQL purpose, this is the command line client for MySQL. It allows you to connect to a MySQL server to execute various SQL queries and commands. -D flag specifies which database to use. In this case, it indicates that the command should operate within the tbfc qa01 database. And -E execute command, this flag allows you to specify a command or query to be executed directly from the command line rather than opening an interactive MySQL shell. This is useful for running quick queries and commands and scripts. And the show tables within quotation marks SQL query. This is the actual SQL command to be executed. The command show tables asks the MySQL server to return a list of all tables within the selected database of tbfc qa01. Okay, which it did return that. And now we're going to run basically the same thing here, but we're going to say select all. So that wildcard or asterisk here means select all from flags. So we want to select all Oh, let's go ahead and paste this in first. And now let's paste. All right, so run that. And enter. And there's our flag. THM, all services discovered. Copy this. Come here. Drop that into our notepad. All right, so great job on finding the flag. You have exposed all Bunny's secrets and regained full access to the QA server. Now it's time to secure all ports and restore the SOC miss preparation pipeline. But for now, answer the questions below and finish the task. And okay, let's grab our flag and put it here. Which port was the MySQL database running on? Well, that was 3306. This one here. And if you enjoyed today's room, feel free to check out the Nmap Basics room. Okay. Continue, continue, and close. All right, so let's go ahead and terminate this attack box. And scroll up here, and let's also terminate our target machine. Close those out as well. And that's going to be it for day 7.